Om Sri Sai Ram. Our next speaker, Dr. Ananth Srinivas, is already here. We already have heard him in Salisbury retreat. He is also alumni of Sai University. 2008, 2009 he began his journey there. And he did his BSc, MSc, and then even taught in Swami's University. His musical prowess we already seen yesterday in the alumni program, as well as we saw in the Salisbury program, his singing abilities and his other musical abilities as such. And we, without any further delay, we would now request our brother to, he has 1 hour, okay, before we go for the next program to engage with the Saram.
Sai Ram. Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my most humble and reverential salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan. Most beloved and dearest Bhagwan, respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, a loving Sai Ram to all of you. I pray to Swami to give us all the understanding that it is He who speaks, He who listens, He who inspires, motivates. Sai Ram. Giving the opening credits and praying is very easy. And then the talking part becomes extremely nervous, especially after a talk like brothers. Because when you're first in the line, you don't have expectations or you don't set any standards. When you come next, because my heart started not beating fast, but it started thumping when he was finishing. It's like, okay, where am I going to go and stand next? Can I even do this? Because I have always, and even my teachers would say this, that I have never identified myself as a speaker, and I am not one, mind you, please. This is a humble submission. But every time Bhagwan does this, and I have heard it from the elders, that whenever you think you are not something or you are not ready for something, be ready for Swami's uncertainty. He is going to make it happen. As I'm standing here to talk, right on top of my mind, I get an incident that I recently heard from a satsang. There was a brother who accompanied Bhagwan for a Kodaikanal trip. He was the youngest in that lot. He was in his 11th class, I believe. So he had a soft corner with all the postgraduate student brothers who had accompanied Swami, the MBA brothers and PhD brothers. So it seems he used to play a trick with Swami and with the brothers in a way that in the evenings after darshan, on cold evenings, Swami used to sit, and near Swami, all the students would be seated around and all elders would be seated on chairs. And Swami used to look towards students like this, glancing his eyes. Who is going to talk today? And Swami's direction would be towards a particular student, and this brother would silently pinch that elder brother, and that brother's face would light up, and Swami would be like, you, give a talk. And then he would come and stand there, and then sometime it takes time for them to collect their thoughts and try to talk. And he thought that never ever will I get such an opportunity, because he was putting others on the spot. One particular day, Swami looked in a certain direction, and Swami said, who is going to talk today? And before this brother could pinch a senior brother, that brother moved aside, and he was caught doing something. And Swami said, you, the youngest boy, you give a talk. It seems he came and stood next to Swami, did all his pranams, did everything. And after that, he was just standing, not knowing what to talk. And here is Bhagwan. It seems Swami signaled to the student who was sitting right in front. He did a small signal. Nobody noticed that, and the brother who was sitting in the front had the book written by Professor Kasturi. And then he opened one page from that, and then this brother looked at that and read out the first paragraph. Imagine Kasturi sir as Swami's biographer, his English is pristine. And when he was reading this passage, first paragraph, everybody thought, nobody saw this whole small drama happening around. So everybody thought, oh my God, this young speaker is so good. See, Swami has selected such a pure talent. And the words are also were not his. But Swami did that. And after first paragraph, Swami said, sit down. And then Swami asked the elders, how did he speak? And elders told Swami, wonderful, because they had not seen any of this happening. But then, later on, as this speaker was giving his Samarpan session, the way he was talking, you will not imagine that it was he who was put through that situation, and that's what Swami does. He is not just a master. He is a coach, I think. Because a coach is somebody who allows you to make mistakes, hand holds you through those mistakes, and says, just make these corrections. I'm there looking at you. Recently, when Geeta auntie was narrating in her satsang that it took 10 years for her to give talks in America before she went back and gave a talk in Prasanthi Nilayam, I can relate to it in a way because I have never spoken in Prasanthi Nilayam so far. So I don't know how much Swami is giving training to me through these very, very blessed opportunities, so that someday, I can be a speaker like brother, so that we can offer it at his divine lotus feet. Because Prasanthi Nilayam, as brother says, I just got some idea yesterday. After staying in the USA for 3 years, I realized generally as immigrants, everything that we need here is a visa. Like you're all the time looking at, okay, how am I to legally stay in this country? So some visa or the other. So after you're a student, let's say your H1B is not picked up, you become another, like you enroll in another college so that you stay on. So that F1 status is preserved. So in a similar way, Swami's university and courses became that visa for us to stay in Swami's hostel and get his blessings and be close to him. I used to say that we happen to be bhajan, we are Swami's bhajan singers who happen to do PhD, not the other way around. Because academics used to happen, but it is, wanting to be in Swami's presence, wanting to bask in his love, that made us stay and do whatever courses we did there. But as an individual journey, it's very complex and complicated. And there is this beautiful couplet that goes, Har pal har kshan bhool kare hum, pag pag thokar khaye, एक पग आगे दो पग पीछे, साई तुम तक कैसे आए, करुणा सागर परमा कृपालु साई. The lines go, the translation, a loose translation of that is, Swami, every step that we take towards you, we make mistakes. And in the process, we take one step forward, but we'll end up taking 2 steps backward. So if this is the rate at which we are walking to you, when do we reach you? When do we attain you, Swami? It's the kind of question that we ask through this. And then, here is Swami, the theme of this retreat is a beautiful answer. Just take 1 step towards me. I will take 100 steps. Because you take that 1 step, and he's there to cover up for rest of all. And this is the most beautiful part, that you want to take one step and he acknowledges and makes sure that you take the rest of those. And I want to narrate 2 instances from my brothers that reveal how he makes sure that we do our best. So there was one brother in the hostel, and he has to give his accountancy exam. It was not an easy one. So he went, and as usual during exams time, Ganesha gets a lot more attention because everybody keeps doing pradakshinas around Ganesha. But the funny part is, after the exam, nobody goes and does pradakshina. Like, it's only before exam. So he gets crowded and everybody goes and prays, somehow please help us pass. Because this is also one understanding that we have, that Ganesha can easily help us communicate to Swami. Like, you tell Ganesha, okay, Swami would have heard it. So he went and did pradakshina. And as Brindavan students, we also used to go to Trayi Brindavan and go around and do pradakshina in Trayi, so that we can put our prayers to Swami. So he prayed that, Swami, there is an accountancy exam, I need to do well. He went back. The exam paper came out to be really easy, and he felt he could do well. And he did well, and as a gratitude, he came back, he prayed to Ganesha, he prayed to Swami, and he wanted to offer something as gratitude. So one of the things that Swami would say is, talk less. Like, spending energy, conserving energy is very important, and in that is talking. So he thought that one day, from morning to evening, he's going to maintain maunam, like maunam as a sadhana, no talking to anybody. And he thought this he would do as a gratitude to Bhagwan for helping him do his exams well. So he was all set, and he had a dream. And in that dream, Swami comes, and he tells thanks to Swami. And Swami said, oh, you are planning something for tomorrow? Said, yes, Swami. And Swami said, you will fail. He said, Swami, please, I'm doing it as a gratitude. Please don't do this to me. Please help me out. You should only take care of this. And then when he said that, Swami told him, okay, be careful with 3 people and 3 instances. And in his dream, Swami shows his friend, his mother, and the director of the campus, Brindavan Campus then. And in the dream, Swami also shows the instances. So the first instance is early morning, right after Suprabhatam. They're all sitting in the room, and this brother is coming into the room of the students. Like, usually 10 to 12 students stay in a room. His friend comes into the room and sings a line, and everybody joins. And this brother also joins. This is happening in the dream. And after he sings, Swami shows that, see, now you failed. And then the second instance is, he gets a phone call from his mother. And then he goes and talks to his mother in a phone call. And then that is the second time Swami reveals that, okay, you've lost it. And the third time is when the director of the campus, who also happens to be the accountancy teacher, comes and asks him, how did you do your exam? And he tells, sir, I did so well. I did this. And then he lost there. So Swami tells, be careful. So he thought it was he thought it was some random dream. He felt very happy and very blessed that, okay, Swami knew that I'm going to offer this, so let me do my best. And then the first thing happens. After Suprabhatam, he's sitting and reading the newspaper, and this brother enters singing that same song. And then as he comes, everyone joins. And this guy knows that he should not join, so he stops. And they almost feel like, why are you alone not singing? And then the next 2 events exactly happen. And then that's where Swami shows that even the intention that, Swami, I want to offer something to you, I want to do my best to offer, he would make sure that it's not that he will not give you hurdles, he can help you overcome those hurdles. He will help you make sure that you do your best. Okay, so that he can help us do the rest. I don't come from a completely, Swami family, if I can say so. The background of my parents is such. Both of them are from the Sri Sathya Sai district in the current scenario, or the erstwhile Anantapur district. But my mother is not from a family that used to pray to Swami. Whereas my father did his Balvikas, he did his service activity, he was a Sevadal, and Swami gave him a few opportunities. I was a Balvika student for a few years, but again later on, tracks slightly we moved away, so I could not be actively part of it. But Swami showed his presence throughout in a way that for my father, when he had done some seva activity as a Dharmavaram Sevadal. So those days, Prasanthi Nilayam used to not have railway station. So all the trains used to come to Dharmavaram, and during Swami's birthday celebrations, the Dharmavaram Sevadals were actively involved in transporting so many parcels that used to come. And so therefore, those were all brought by the Dharmavaram Sevadals, and Swami was extremely happy with what the Sevadals had done. And so Swami wanted to give all of them a safari cloth and Pada Namaskar. And when this was happening in the bhajan hall, my father was so excited that he was going to go to Swami and get a piece of safari. And somehow my father's name got missed out while being called. And so he did not receive anything, and he started crying, and he felt extremely bad. And he went back, and he was internally very angry also, because Swami, how could this happen? You know how much I have done. But as they say, right, Swami's delays are not denials, or sometimes we don't even know what his plans are. So that day, my father directly goes to a job interview in Hyderabad instead of going home because he had to attend an interview. So on the way, my uncle had to give him the file of his, like the CV file basically, all the certificates and everything. So when my father went for the interview that day, that evening, the interviewer opened the file, and right away he found the Sevadal certificates. Because they were not organized. My uncle had given, so it was not in an organized format. So he saw the Sevadal certificate and he asked, "Oh, so you are Sai Baba devotee." So the interviewer in the official interview asking, "Oh, you are Sai Baba devotee." Said, "Yes." "Then why don't you have a vibhuti?" he asked. He said, "I got it in the morning, but from morning I've been sitting outside, so it went off." So he said, "Do you have some?" He said, "Yes." So he took some vibhuti from my father in pocket, and my father also handed over a photograph of Swami to him. So when it started on Swami's note, he knew that the interview was going to go well. And then, as the process went on, then he said, "Okay, this part of your life sounds great. Now let's get into your official things." And then he asked questions. Swami's grace, my father did well. And those certificates were from my father's Sevadal training for 3 days. There was a 3-day training that he underwent. And those certificates helped my father get a job which he stayed on for 39 plus years. This was in the year around 1980, 1981. He wanted to join the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, which got inaugurated that time. But that the financial circumstances did not allow him to join then. So my grandfather had told, "Go ahead and work, and we will find a way. Right now we will not be able to have you study." So my father went to work, but 39, 40 years later, Swami made him the visiting faculty of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. So now he gets a unique opportunity to teach both the women students and the men students something called supply chain management. And the circle, it's still not ended. Swami is showering his blessings continuously. So I have shared this experience in multiple forums. But my father recently, in a satsang, he got to share this experience of how Swami blessed him. And I think Swami is a master planner, and he also wants to see, is he talking what he's, like, is he convinced about what he's talking, right? So Swami is a mastermind in that, if we can say so. And my father, right after that satsang, got a dream. In that dream, my father is again distributing safaris, and here there are MBA students that Swami is distributing safaris to. And when he distributes the safaris, when it comes to my father's turn, the safaris are over. So there are no more. So Swami is also looking, my father is also looking around. And Swami asks Amy, what do you want? And this is a tricky question. And then my father just, it seems he told, Swami Pad Namaskar. Swami said, Teesko. So when my father narrated this dream to me, it looked like Swami was asking, do you still need the safari? Are you still angry about that safari? Because the way Swami narrates or gives us an experience, in the recent YA retreat, one of the speakers had mentioned a beautiful thing, that Swami might possibly just give us one experience, but reflecting on that experience possibly every month or every year would give us more and more insights, because that one experience could possibly teach us, have lessons for an entire lifetime. So, therefore, reflecting on that, he was able to assume that yes, Swami can answer our prayers not now, any time later, and we don't know how it happens. And as brother was beautifully mentioning, 2009 to 2011 was the stage at which I was a higher secondary school student in Swami's presence. And 2011 was our 12th standard. And then after Swami's Mahasamadhi, we went to the Brindavan campus. So during those 2 years, all our interactions were, as brother rightly said, through letters. If Swami saw us, if we had a eye-to-eye locking with Swami, that was the most blissful thing to come back with. Like Swami saw us, Swami smiled at us. And for me, all the more, the bhajan singing became a way through which I thought I would want to be a part of. Because I saw all the brothers with Swami were all singers. Swami used to call them every day and talk. Swami used to interact with them. Swami used to help them, correct them. And especially this format of Burrakatha, that literally touched my heart, because within 1 week of my joining in Prasanthi Nilayam, there was this Burrakatha on Mother Ishwaramma. So the brothers had performed this Burrakatha on Mother Ishwaramma. It is so heart-wrenching in a way. It's touching and wrenching because Swami also becomes emotional as the brothers are singing some of those padyams on Mother Ishwaramma. The origin story is so beautiful to this. These Burrakathas were written by our Burrakatha master, Guru Garu Shri Krishna Bhaskar sir, who's no longer there. And he had written a story on Shirdi Baba. So this Shirdi Baba Burrakatha was offered in 2006, and Swami blessed these Burrakatha singers profusely. And at the end of it, Swami asked, "You have so Swami's based on Swami's discourses, Shirdi Baba's birth parents were Devagiramma and Ganga Bhava." So Swami tells in his discourses, and through that, based on that, our sir had written some poems. And Swami says, "You wrote beautiful poems on Devagiramma and Ganga Bhava. What about my mother?" Swami asked. He said, "Swami, if with your grace and blessings, I will write, Swami. Please bless me." He said, "All the blessings I give you, go and write." And exactly 1 year later, in 2007, those brothers were able to perform in front of Swami the Burrakatha on Mother Ishwaramma. After that, from 2007 to 2011, they got to offer so many Burrakathas, and Swami, every time Swami would ask for these stories. And one such interview Swami was going song by song, and our Burrakatha sir had a ring with Swami's face. And Swami was going through one particular song, and it was on Ramayana. So the song goes like, "Lanka muttinchesi Govinda Rama Chankaligire Sadu Bagunda Rama." So basically it says, Hanuman came, he lit up the Lanka, and then as a prank, because he's also a little bit naughty kind of a monkey, so after lighting up Lanka, and when he was not being able to be captured by those Rakshasas, it seems Hanuman does something like this. You are not able to catch me, I'm flying away. So this he describes in his lyrics. And then Swami looked at these lyrics and said, "Lanka Chanka, Prasa Bhagundi Bangaru." And then Swami said, and sir said, "Swami, Anta Midaya, Swami." And when he said Anta Midaya, Swami asked, what is this ring? Said, Swami, it has your face on it. Where did you get it? Swami, I just bought it in the store outside. Because sometimes we tend to fancy only those that Swami give. Wherever we buy something, if Swami's photograph is there, at least I used to feel that, okay, I bought a pendant from a shop that has Swami's face in it, but this is not what Swami materialized. So Swami asked, he said, Swami, I got it from the shop. He said, no, but every time you sit to write a song, I come in that and I write it through you. So, any photograph, any pendant, his name, his form is where he is. At least at this point, especially after 2011, we need to start realizing that every time we talk to Swami, he is there. Photograph, one of the seniors in hostel, he used to not be able to interact, so he used to sometimes, whenever he wants to scold, he used to go to a photograph in his cupboard and scold Swami. Swami, like this, Swami, like that. Every time he wanted to complain. And then Swami one day just remarked in the darshan, too much complain. You think I don't hear you when you tell in the hostel cupboard? I am there also, I am here also. So in his small ways, he tried to teach us that everywhere you talk, I am listening. And Swami listens to every conversation. This was narrated to us by the current school warden. A beautiful story where conversations are happening between students in the school boys' hostel. Again, taking cue from what Lakshmikant brother said, Sri Lanka mein hai, UK mein hai. So basically, Swami is everywhere. He's appearing everywhere. He's omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. So the students were discussing, two students specifically. One student said, Swami is appearing in Sri Lanka, Swami is appearing in US, everywhere, Africa. We hear so many stories. Why does Swami not appear in hostel? So it was a genuine question, I think so. And then this brother tried to give a very logical answer. Brother, we don't even stay 1 kilometer far away from where Swami is. So you go to Mandir, you're going to see him. So why should he again appear here? It's too much of work, right? So he doesn't need to. And then he says, Swami's vibhuti gets manifested in photographs in some people's homes, everywhere. But in our hostel, it doesn't happen. And then this brother had a very similar answer. Brother, you go to Mandir, Swami either gives you vibhuti packets or sometimes he materializes and gives you. So when we are very close to where we can get it from, the source. So I don't think he needs to again keep proving himself. The conversation ended. And then, one particular day, the brother who was a part of the conversation, during the night prayer, lights generally get turned off. And after that, general hostel rule is don't switch on the lights after that. Or when you switch it on, just spread your bed and just sleep. This brother was so sleepy that day, he did not roll his bed open. He just slept right away. But during that process, when he opened his eyes, he actually saw Swami. And Swami told him, sleep. And he went and narrated this to the warden. Sir, we were discussing like this. In fact, I asked this brother, why doesn't Swami appear in the hostel? And this brother gave a very nice answer. But actually, Swami did appear and this is what happened. And sir tried to convince him saying, it's okay, maybe you must have been sleepy, you would have seen Swami's photograph, or maybe he had a dream or something like that. But sir told him one thing, don't tell this experience to anyone else. He thought, sir had a concern that maybe others will make fun of this brother, possibly. So this was only between sir and that student, that, okay, he saw Swami. And fast forward a few months later, and here is, during the winter vacation, like brother said, all the boys almost would leave except for a handful of them. So when some of them were staying back, Swami gave them some work in the bhajan hall. Swami called all of them for cleaning. And that day, it seems Swami was in a very, very fun mode. What I mean by fun mode is, if the person is a Hindi speaker, Swami would talk to him in Telugu or Tamil. If the person is a Telugu speaker, Swami would talk to him in Hindi. Things like that. Swami was talking in every possible language and confusing. Why are you doing this? Clean the altar and everything. And suddenly, this brother was taking a photograph, and then he's a Telugu person, and the warden was also standing there. And at that point alone, Swami switches to Telugu to him and says, "You don't even open your bed when you sleep. How do you carry this photo?" Only this Swami tells in Telugu so that sir could hear. Just showing that every conversation you have, I am right there. I am hearing. And this one question keeps bothering me all the time. That, Swami, are you listening now? I hear these wonderful experiences. I have not had any interviews with you. I've never seen the interview room when Swami was physically there. I've never gotten an opportunity of interacting with Swami when I sang like a solo song or something. I had a bhajan. I was blessed to be a part of bhajan group. However, I could never have a personal one-on-one interaction where Swami said, "You sang well," or made any physical remarks or comments about singing. So I always had this thought, "Swami, are you listening? Are you?" So with possibly half faith, a few days back, I was talking to one of the young adults who visited New Orleans recently. That's where I live in the US. So he visited me, and then we were talking, and he was blessed to have some interviews with Bhagwan. And I never had an interview, so we were talking, and I told almost very confidently, "Swami doesn't even know my name." Like physically, I told, "I know, but Swami doesn't know what I do. Swami doesn't know my name. He doesn't know me. He has never identified me as a person and spoke. But that is Swami's love, but he's still there. I'm not disappointed." I was trying to convince, put up this possibly maybe a non-convinced, partially convinced kind of an argument, showing him that, yeah, I didn't have this. He still has not told me, and things like that. I'll just take a few moments to talk about something else that happened when I came to the US. So 2022 is when I came to the US, and I stay alone, and in that city there is no active Sai center. So like some of our alumni members in the panel discussion they were telling like how the day they came, either somebody said Sai Ram, or some alumni came and picked them up, or some member from Sai Center came and took them home. For me, if I remember it right, it took me a few months to say Sai Ram to somebody physically, to somebody who is not in Sai Circle. I still remember within 1 month, I called an alumnus, and I FaceTimed him, and I broke down, saying, "Sir, I don't think I'll fit in this country. I want to go back." And he instilled a lot of courage, lot of confidence, saying, "Swami will take care, don't worry." And so moving forward, I stay alone. So this is the silence in the US, right? So in India, somewhere if we are outdoors, we may hear either cars or street dogs or something or the other. So even sleeping time, our apartments are so close, right? So fan sound would be there, something or the other would be there. But in the US, it's blank, literally blank. So it used to scare me a lot in the room. So as a backup, I started listening to Swami's discourses while going to sleep. So I'm not saying this because I'm devoted. I want to confess that the starting point is I used to feel scared. So I started listening to Swami's discourses, and it automatically turns off, let's say, in half an hour or 40 minutes. But what I realized was, I was telling this young adult also that Swami doesn't know my name, but all of us have this thing about Swami singing a bhajan where our name comes as an indication to us, things like that. So for me, I think one of the bhajans would be Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So one of the days that I heard discourses, and this is the logic that I use. Whenever Swami talks so much about love, it would be Prema Mudita, he would sing. Again, Swami is uncertain, but we tend to make algorithms saying this is how Swami would work. So Swami talks about love, Prema Mudita. Swami talks about Namasmarana, Hari Bhajana Bina. We can make all the theories. Or Swami talks about Krishna and Gopika's, it will be Govinda Krishna Jai. so much. You can make whatever you want, but Swami is beyond all that. So that particular discourse, Swami spoke. He was speaking on Bhajagovindam, was completely about Lord Krishna and everything. And then he sings a bhajan. And the second bhajan is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So now I'm like, should I fall asleep or should his heart starts to beat? It's like, okay, Swami actually heard what I was thinking. Again, I made it a practice. I didn't take it very seriously. And I made it a practice to listen to Swami's voice. And one particular day, I thought, I need to reduce eating sugars because I am a foodie. I eat a lot of sweets. So tomorrow, if I tend to take sweets, don't judge me. I still take sweets. But in that discourse, I thought, during that time, I thought I'm not going to have sweets, and I tried following it for a few days, very, very strictly, like not even in coffee and tea and all that. So one particular day, we went to Dallas for a music program. This is just last year. We went to Dallas for a music program, and there is this alumni who became a very close, brother of mine. So he came in his car to pick me up for a practice session, and he was like, I got Bawarchi jalebi for you. Be ready. And I said, sir, please forgive me. I'm not eating sugar. I don't want to, break my promise, at least at this stage. This is what I told. And that night, I hear discourse of Swami. And in that discourse, Swami talks about multiple things. He starts talking about cancer. And in that, Swami says, do you know the cause for cancer? It is white sugar. In that discourse. And Swami says, the way it's processed and everything, I was like, okay. I still have not stopped, brothers and sisters, but still, that was like an indication that you better be careful because he's listening to you. But despite all this, to this young adult, I told that Swami doesn't know what I'm doing or Swami doesn't know anything. And next day, I listened to a satsang. And this satsang has been in my YouTube playlist for years. And that day it popped up. And in that talk, he narrates another experience where it's a Sankranti morning. Swami gave a beautiful discourse. He took Aarti and he went into the interview room. He came out and he summoned two boys who were sitting in the VIP, in the portico. And when Swami called two of them, they thought Swami is going to bless them and Swami is going to, Swami is happy possibly or Swami is pleased with them. But Swami shows a letter. Do you know what this is? And now they knew that Swami was suddenly stern and they were going to get into something. And Swami said, during my discourse, you both were sleeping. And they had to agree. They did sleep. Also, it was the end of sports meet, right? The sports meet culminates. So, lot of late nights and lot of activities. So, during the prize distribution, they were dozing. And it seems they just did not doze alone. They happened to slightly snore. So, this person who wrote this beautiful letter got so offended by their snore that he wrote this letter saying, Swami, these two people have done this. Then Swami called the Vice Chancellor. Swami called all the elders around. What have they done? And now, here is where we should also see how elders were trained by Bhagavan. They said, Swami, it's a grievous mistake. Swami, we need to punish them. However, you are the Lord of mercy. You are the mother. If you forgive them this time, they will improve and they will not repeat it. Almost all the elders around, Swami made sure, Swami made them tell, what do you think, what do you think, what do you think? And everybody was telling the same thing. They thought they were done. And here is where there was a person who was standing behind the pillar. Swami called him, you also come. You tell. And then Swami gave him the letter to read. And then he started reading this letter. And he writes something like, Swami, you are the avatar of this age. The words went like this. It's not exactly that I'm telling. So Swami, you are the avatar of this age. Not every age that an avatar comes down, and not every time that an avatar calls a set of people as his properties or his students. But these two were not utilizing the opportunity when you were giving a talk, and you need to punish them. This is what he's written in that letter. And then Swami says, continue. And there was only his name that he had signed. And then Swami told, read that. And when he read that is when everyone realized that Swami put him on the spot because it was he who wrote the letter. So, see, for me this was a very important lesson because sometimes we tend to complain to Swami. Swami was trying to teach me through this that, okay, there is a way that we need to approach negativity or complaints to Swami as well, because everything is from his point of view. We don't know how things are. So Swami had asked him, okay, now what do you think they should have done? And he said, Swami, they should have been in their complete focus. They should have been completely concentrating on you. And then it seems Swami just made a few more statements and stopped. What Swami said was, yes, focus and concentration are necessary, but what about the state in which they don't know or they don't own their body or mind? They are beyond that. So both the speaker in that satsang and I are not endorsing that you sleep during the discourse or anything, but through this was a most powerful lesson to me. The speaker in fact said, like Swami was referring to the theta and delta oscillations of the brain, which are very, very essential during sleep. And that is the time where cognition and memory get into the long-term storage. And today, as a neuroscientist, my research is on theta oscillations. And here is Swami telling me that he knows that during sleep is when I hear his discourses, and that I also am working on theta oscillations. He need not divinely come in front of me to tell that this is what you're doing. He can use his instruments, his voice, his message, his devotees. Everyone can play the role of Swami to us. And when we are talking about centenary celebrations of welcoming people, to all who are coming new, we are Swami. The way we behave with them, the way we behave amongst ourselves is what the impression that they would have on Swami. Previously, Swami's physical form was there for anybody to understand how Swami is. Now they have to depend on us to know how Swami is. In 2009, Swami called this Burakatha's boys for an interview. So it was during their, they were in Swami's students' terminology, they were that time in form, complete form, because every time Swami used to call them. And the same way like Brother Lakshmikant, they finished BA and MA, and they were going for the MBA. So for MBA, they have to give an interview, entrance test and interview. These two brothers were specifically told, you don't sit in the front line that morning. If Swami calls you for interview, you will be late for the university interview, and you both are the first two slots. So don't go. So these brothers somehow still wanted to have Swami's darshan, so they sat in the alumni block. They sat behind. But their third Burrakatha partner was sitting with the bhajan group in the front line. So Swami called him and said, where are the other two? And they were summoned from the alumni block. And then Swami said, come inside. Now, see, Swami is the chancellor of the university and universe, but he goes by the protocol. So any mistake would not be forgiven. So they could not afford to be late to the university interview just because Swami is giving an interview. So they were really scared getting into the interview room, like, will we be able to go on time? So as Swami was talking, this brother very, very nervously tells Swami, interview undi, we have interview. And Swami said, I'm giving you now. And he said, no, Swami, MBA interview. Oh, okay, take Pad Namaskar and go. And Swami said, I will ask you how it goes. So that evening, Swami called them again and asked, how did your interview go? There were 9 panel members in the interview, and Swami asked what each of them asked, and what was the answer for each of those questions. In fact, Swami talked about investment during this, because it was an MBA finance interview. But cutting short, the last question was asked by the warden, saying, how would you go out, and when you are working, how would you spread Swami's message? How would you take Swami's name to the world? And he told this question to Swami. And Swami told, okay, what did you answer? And he said, Swami, I told that when I go outside, I will not do anything extra. I will do my work the way I am doing. I will be the way I am. And seeing how I am, somebody might want to know what is my value system, where do I come from, and if this person is able to behave like this, where did he get his training from? And that must be a very different place, or his trainer or his mentor or his Guruji has to be someone divine, because this person's principles and values are beyond normal. And that's how I would do, Swami. I might not go and preach about you. And it seems Swami became very teary-eyed and said, that is the actual purpose of why I started this university. If I have even 30 students like that, my mission is fulfilled. This experience happened to that brother. I am no way involved. I just heard this experience. Last year, I had to go to a retreat to give a talk. That was my first such giving a talk. Music program, Swami's grace, practice and manage. But for giving a talk, it's extremely hard. So I was trying to prepare, and I was asking this brother for experiences, because he and I used to be we had a good bonding because we were in bhajan group, and so he used to tell me a lot of instances. So I wanted to ask about this. So there was WhatsApp messages going because of the time difference. When do I call you, brother? When do we talk? When do I call you? And somehow we made sure that it was May 15th, somewhere about 10:30 or 10 o'clock Central Time. I called him. It was at the night. And I asked him this whole experience about the interview and everything, and he narrates to me. And I asked him, brother, what is the date on which you got this? And he said, May 16th, 2009, morning 8:30 a.m., Swami called us for interview. And May 16th, morning 8:30 a.m., 2024, which is 15 years later, he was exactly during the same moments that interview happened, he was narrating that experience to me. And when he said this date and time, both he and I had goosebumps, feeling Swami between our conversation. A satsang, a conversation with a Sai brother, also he makes sure that he's present and gives an acknowledgement that he is verily and very much a part of it. When I look at the Kodaikanal photographs of a lot of brothers, alumni brothers who are here, I used to feel extremely jealous, saying they were able to stand and pose with Swami. Some of them had hands on Swami, and we only had, like brother said, a legal 2-time-a-year opportunity of either go and give aarti to Swami or give rose to Swami, but with so many instructions, because Swami was physically, due to his health conditions, we had to observe a lot of protocols. So the only thing we used to be allowed to do was just go and wait there and see how Swami takes it forward. So the first time I went to Swami was in my 11th class. It was a Diwali day, October 19th, 2009. And I went and I had to offer a rose to Swami. So the letter was folded in my pocket like this, and I went with a rose to Swami. And when I went with a rose to Swami, Swami took that rose, and then Swami put that rose in my pocket, and he took the letter from my pocket. And that is a photograph that I have. That is one of the 3 or 4 photographs that I have of Swami. And I was looking at that photo again and again. And I felt Swami was communicating a beautiful message through this. I thought that all Swami is wanting from us is the love, which is the representative of the rose. You give your rose. You have anything you want, you have in your heart. You give him the love. He will take that love, put it back in your heart. He will take all the problems from your heart, and you don't need to do anything else. That photograph, I might not have posed, but it speaks for years. Because that one moment, my heart was literally thumping because, again, the aura of Swami was so much that I couldn't talk a word. I could not talk a word to Swami. He looked at me, but I could not talk. Only thing was, I saw him read my whole letter from top to bottom, and after he saw my signature, he looked at me, he told Pad Namaskar, I took, and similarly, I went and sat near the lion. And I was feeling so guilty. Why I didn't talk? Why could I not even say something? Like, why was I just so... I thought I was dumbstruck, but probably I was awestruck, and maybe there was nothing required. But while Swami was going back, I just got up. And again, some of the words, it is he who motivates us to say. I just told Swami one thing. Swami, meer eppudu naatone undali. Swami, you should always be with me. And Swami said, Tappaka. He just showed his hand like this. And initially when I had come to the US, one mentor of mine, he told, USA, you suffer alone. So actually that gave me a lot of courage because, but today I can say that USA means you have Swami always, right? Because through his devotees, his messages, he's always, always communicating to us. All that we need to do is just take one step. And he's just right there. Sir, how much more time I have? I'm so sorry. 5 minutes? Yeah. 10 minutes, okay. So I just wanted to tell one more experience regarding singing. So these brothers who wanted to put up a Burrakatha program, again, the whole intention, again, for singing, for picking up any instruments in the university, or anything that we did, the only thing was, is that going to lead us to get a chance in front of Bhagwan? All that we wanted was that. If it was not possible, then let's not do it. So if I can act, I'm okay to act without a dialogue, just to stand there in front of Swami. If anything that is possible. So these brothers were putting up a Burrakatha program, and they wanted to put up, but there was no way it was going to happen because exams were there, and nobody was positive about a program because it was during the end of March. So one day, this brother stood up, and he was praying to Swami, saying, Swami, you have given this wonderful opportunity for us to study here, but I'm just studying, I'm not doing programs. This is what we want to offer to you. We want more interaction. Somehow, please ensure that we are able to get a chance, Swami. Please help us, please help us. Kept praying. Thank you, sir. And he had a dream. And Swami told him, the dream was on March 20th or 21st. This was 2009, I believe. Thank you. And in that dream, Swami sat with him and looked at the entire Burrakatha script, saying, what do you want to talk about? Swami, this is the script, but we haven't fully prepared. But we'll prepare if you give an opportunity. And there was this padyam on Mother Ishwaramma, and that was the only padyam that was tuned. So this brother sang that padyam in front of Swami, and in the dream, and Swami said, okay. And Swami told him a date, saying, on this date, I will give you an opportunity to perform, but keep these conditions in mind. And Swami gave him 3 conditions. And I thought it was not just about the Burrakatha, we could use it for every other offering that we do to Bhagwan. The first thing Swami says is, when we offer a program, we try to get too much into the technicalities. So for them, Swami was told about the Burrakatha, that you get into costumes, you look into the makeup, you do everything, but you don't focus on the devotees. And Swami said, devotees have to be the focus. And then Swami said, your focus should be on devotees. The person who is sitting in the first line should have the same effect as the person who's sitting in the last line. So you should sing in such a way that everybody feels the same amount. Like they get the same effect of it. And then Swami says, there would be foreigners, Italians, Russians, they would not understand Telugu. So you should sing in such a way that the language of heart is necessarily communicated. They should feel wholesome after the song, irrespective of the language. And then the last point, I think that's most applicable for me, I felt, is the smile on their faces is what reflects on my face. So make sure that if they are happy, then I am happy. So for me, whenever I used to sing, there was one psychiatrist who had visited higher secondary school in our 12th standard. And he had told us that you write something for 48 days right after you wake up and it will manifest. So for 48 days or so, I had got up, and as soon as I woke up, before even brushing, I used to write a few things, in which one of the sentence was, Swami, I need to sing alone in front of you. I need to sing and it means I want to offer a song, just me and you, more of a scenario. That's what I was trying to mean in that. And then Swami's Mahasamadhi happened. And every time I sang, I tried to see, Swami, are you listening? Are you there? How would I understand your presence? How would I know that you are listening to me? And that's how started practicing multiple genres, and Swami gave us an opportunity to do Burrakatha also later on. And multiple opportunities would come, but then the main factor is, how do we know Swami is listening? How do we make sure? So keeping these points in mind, like Swami said, like trying to have the language of heart and trying to see how Swami responds to us, is one way that we can offer our love. And Swami makes sure that he does that. So for instance, it was one of the last darshans that I remember. Swami was coming those days in car. He used to come only in car and take Aarti also in car and leave. So he came in car and he was talking to a person, and the car stopped right in front of us in the bhajan group. So I'm sitting like this, and then Swami's car is there. But the problem was, the side view mirrors were blocking. They were covering like this. They were covered like this. So Swami was there. I could see Swami's hair, but I could not see Swami's face. I could not see anything. Swami's talking to someone. And my bhajan turn came. Me and my partner chose Radha ke Natavar Lal Kanhaiya. And then we were singing, and I'm not able to see Swami. So at that time, one of the biggest joys of life is just looking at Swami and singing a bhajan. And if he plays talam, or if he closes his eyes during bhajan, nothing more blissful than that. But here, I'm not able to see Swami, because these mirrors were blocking, and I was so angry on the driver. Could you not do a few inches forward, bruh? Why did you have to stay there? And then the bhajan starts, first speed gets over, and second speed, still I'm not able to see. The beautiful bhajan, Nanda Kumara Rasa Vilola, Nanda Kumara Rasa Vilola. I'm trying to extend time, few more seconds. Hey Rasa Vilola, Hey Rasa Vilola, Nanda Kumara Rasa Vilola. Now I can't do more. Last line. Meera ke Prabhu Nandalal Kanhaiya. Follow happened. Still no. Meera ke Prabhu Nandalal. Swami looks like that. The mirror is here, and Swami bends and just gave a side look to me. And that 1 second is what Meera, Tulsidas, everybody probably pined for. That one darshan, that one look. Just that much is enough. Nothing more is required. But sometimes art is a very, very, how would I say, a confusing way of sadhana, because applause comes on in its way. Applause, attribution, adoration can easily come and take over our mind. So over a period of time, when I went to Brindavan for my bachelor's, we used to attend bhajan sessions, and I honestly submit that after bhajans, I used to look forward to somebody coming and saying, you sang well. And they used to definitely come and tell me you sang well. But there was this other brother. When he sang, people just teared up. And even I teared up. So for me, that was like, why is his singing so magical? What is he doing? Nobody used to go and tell him he sang well. It was just communicated between them and Swami. And in fact, Swami's discourses say that if somebody comes and gives you a compliment on your technicality, then you have failed your singing. If someone comes and tells you your curve was beautiful, then you took away the concentration from me and you made them focus on the curve. Their focus should always be on me, and you do what you should do to make sure that you are talking through them. I mean, you are their voice. You are communicating. Just last two instances and I will end. Again, why I said Swami is a master coach is it was one of these morning darshans that Swami was not regularly coming for. And then there was this new bhajan, Purna Brahma Avatara Sai. So in Prasanthi Nilayam, how we introduce a bhajan is first we teach the bhajan group, then the hostel, and then few days in the hostel so that multiple people can follow, and then we introduce in mandir. So I think they did follow the protocol, but they sang in the morning, thinking that anyway Swami would possibly not come for darshan. And the bhajan was sung, and during the bhajan, Swami came out for darshan. And Swami went straight to the singer. Like he cut the lines and went straight to the singer. So everybody thought his singing was so much of joy it gave Swami, that Swami didn't want to do anything, just wanted to manifest there for his singing. Because the bhajan also goes like that. So, and then Swami spoke to him, and everybody went and told him, brother, what a devotion you have. Like Swami came straight to you. And it seems Swami told him, next time you sing like this, I'll throw you out. And then Swami said this, bhajans are a way through which devotees talk to me. You are singing a new bhajan which nobody knows lyrics for. How would they talk to me? Nobody's following. So if I come and sing a bhajan with a lot of curves, with extremely difficult lyrics which nobody is able to follow, what is the point? It is a give and take. There is no lead, there is no follow. It's all. And how did I understand this? Possibly Swami had to bring me to the USA for that. I'll tell you how. COVID-19, it was really a bad phase for the entire world. For most of their families, we lost loved ones, somebody or the other. But for me in particular, I should say, with other difficulties, challenges, it was a blessing in disguise. Because mornings and evenings, we got to sing bhajans for Swami in the Kulwant Hall. No devotees, nobody, just the bhajan group and the Vedam group. And sometimes in the morning, we used to be just 4 of us singers, one harmonium player, tabla. The social distancing was so much that we were far apart, and it almost looked like we were doing an ekanta seva for the Lord. Just us, just me singing. Somebody's playing harmonium behind, somebody's playing tabla, but I am singing. It was so overwhelming, positively overwhelming. Morning and evening we got that opportunities. And then Swami puts me in a state where there is no Sai Center, no bhajan mandali, there is no Sai activity happening. And almost for 13 months, maybe I can call it maybe Ajñatavas, because nobody knew. Like even in the US, I contacted a few alumni, but it was not that I was very actively participating in anything. And here is where one more term comes to play. Again, my mentor had told me, "Ee country lo kare kaallu." Means basically in this country, car is your legs. So without car, you cannot travel. So I couldn't even go to the temple and other activities that used to happen in this city. So I was all the time restricted. And I always used to look at Swami and say, "Swami, you deprived me of bhajans. Why did you do this? Why did you bring me here? Why? And then in one of the prayers, I thought Swami was asking me, so you cannot sing when there is no, mic system. So you need an ambience to sing, is it? Because the previous Salisbury retreat, one of the senior bhajan group members pointed out this experience where Swami, when a devotee asked Swami, I want to sing. Swami said, sing. He said, no, Swami, in the bhajan hall. And then Swami asked, oh, you want to sing in the mic? Right? So similarly, for me, I felt like Swami was asking me, so do you need a mic system? Do you need people to come and acknowledge you, only then would you sing. And when this came to me, it hit me like I felt it very, very strongly. And so I immediately went to Walmart and got a chair that I kept in my home, and I tried to start singing and offering, so that from that day, I know that it is definitely Kirtanam is important, but Sankirtanam is what makes the whole vibration, because all of us are equally putting in our efforts and thoughts and prayers to make a bhajan session a bhajan session. It can never be an individual offering alone. So, but that also helped me try to start thinking about Swami and praying. And then our first ever music program I was invited for one of the first ever music programs that I was attending in the USA. And then all of a sudden I had to learn a new Qawwali. And when I had to learn that new Qawwali, one of the lines is, the alap goes like, कोई कह दो ना जाके मोरे साई से, somebody go and tell our साई, कोई कह दो ना जाके मोरे साई से, मोरे साई तेरा दीदार करा दे. Basically, someone go and tell Swami to give me darshan, because I've been missing. I've not been able to see him. So when I sang this song, I felt very, very emotional, but also slightly angry, saying, anyway, you abandoned me, no, Swami, I'm here, like, I'm not getting to sing on a daily basis. How does it matter? You know, this was the kind of conversation, a very loose conversation that I had. And that very night, I had a beautiful dream. And I was practicing this in the chair that I thought Swami was there. But sometimes we make these statements. When I know that he's sitting right in front of me, I still say, Swami, you have not done this and all. And in the dream, I had a beautiful darshan, and I got up and I just broke down, holding Swami's feet. And yet another inspiring revelation that I get, that many a times, at least for me, what I thought was an experience is probably a validation from others. Today, as a neuroscientist, I can tell that whether we have a dream of Swami or when we experience Swami, physically or otherwise, the brain circuit, the hormones, the neurotransmitters, hormones, everything that the internal circuit is going through is the same. There is no difference. Only difference is, yes, I may not have a photograph of my dream. I may not be able to come and show you that this is the chain that Swami created. I may not be able to come and show you that this happened. Or you would not be able to come and tell me that, you know, this is a beautiful experience that Swami did to you. It's personal. I believe that Swami has made himself more and more customized to each of us at this time, so that we can have an individual one-to-one connection. And every time we feel a lack of connection, come to these retreats, go to Prasanthi Nilayam, recharge our batteries, and come back. And I thank you all for this wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And speaking in front of legends whom I revere and whose talks I have heard, to even know what speaking is itself a blessing. And thank you all for your patient listening. I just would like to end with a small couplet in Telugu, which talks about Swami being our mother, father, and everything, and we as offering ourselves to his lotus feet. Talli Tandri Guruvu Daivamu Bandhuvu Nive Sakhudavella Nive Sai నీ పదాబ్జములను నిత్యము కొలుతుము నీ పదాబ్జములను నిత్యము కొలుతుము సాయి రామా శరణు మాకు సాయి రామా నీవే శరణు మాకు. జై సారా.
Another round of applause, please. I was actually sitting in the back, paying only half attention to brother speak, but then Swami had a different idea. He asked me to come and give a vote of thanks for brother, so I had to listen. But starting, at least the part I listened, starting from how much we earn for that tiny glimpse of Swami, tiny glimpse of Swami, how much we earn, to the point of, you reminded me of the first verses of Purusha Suktam, where Swami talks about, where it goes, Sahasra Sirusha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. All of us, everyone here, Swami works through us, speaks through us, and listens through us. What a wonderful explanation of your experiences, from you stay alone to you stay always with Swami. Thank you so much. I request Brother Akshay to offer a token of our love. Bhajan in the devotion hall will start in about 7 minutes. Sai Ram.